Well, we'll bring to you the story of 2-year-old Deladem, whose father has been diagnosed with kidney failure and could die if he doesn't raise 100,000 Ghana cedis for an immediate surgery. And Michaela Anderson has been speaking to Edem Pesese. We're bringing you this very story because it's just a prelude to a discussion we're going to have about liver and kidney care. We know that is a concern for not only the general practitioners in the medical field, but also for a lot more Ghanaians, because now we're getting a lot more of the diagnosis. And once we're getting, it means that we have to improve care, whether it's at the side of the health side or to at the domestic side. And we'll be having in the studio a medical doctor to share with us some of their own analysis of the current situation and how as much as they are trying to improve the situation. Now, the story.
2-year-old Deladem could become fatherless in the next few months if her father, Edem Pesese, who's been diagnosed with kidney failure, does not raise 100,000 Ghana cedis for an immediate surgery. Her father's dream of seeing her grow gracefully could be shattered if money for his surgery is not raised within the next 4 months.
To raise the amount as 100,000 Ghana cedis, I think to generate that money alone. So I'll be very happy if, I'm supported or helped. Because I sometimes sit alone and I think of the kids I've learned. I know I've been receiving calls from them. He says, when are you coming? I've always been telling them I'll be coming. I must leave to take care of my family because I've got a young family. At least I have a young, loving wife too. That I need to spend enough time with them for them to grow and to have a life.
The 33-year-old teacher at Kade Presby Junior High School was diagnosed with kidney failure in July last year. He's had to battle with life ever since.
When I went to the hospital at Akwetia, and the doctor detected I was having a high BP and anemic. So he later asked me to take a transfer and come to Kolibu. So Kolibu, I was admitted at the medical and other several labs were done on me and finally diagnosed by kidney failure by the renal team. And since then, I've been on dialysis.
He says it's become a headache to raise 820 Ghana cedis for weekly dialysis treatment, a situation which has compelled the family to come to the media to appeal for help.
So for now, I'm on dialysis and they say the way out is for me to have a kidney transplant. You have to go for the dialysis on Monday and Thursday. I'm for 2 sections. And I'm for 2 sections because you know the expenses that per section costs. You have to be dialyzed at the same time. A week you take your injection, erythropoietin and iron injection. So
how much do you pay in a week?
The section is 190 cedis per section. Yeah. So you have
in a week you pay how much?
Including the EPO and iron, I think it will total to about 800. Pain is quite being a help me. Sometimes you get support from friends and family and some colleagues I work with too.
Once an athlete, a footballer and a basketball player, Edem has now been confined to a chair due to his condition, inability, now his second name.
Since July, I think most of the things that I mostly used to do, off most of them now, and it has actually affected my work in terms of teaching.
But he does not want his health to discourage his family, especially his wife, mother and 2 children, of which Deladem is the elder.
You know how it is, being young, just marrying and facing such a problem, it's sometimes happening. The expenses alone. you know.
How long have you been married?
3 years now.
Adam speaks boldly and with much hope because he believes self-pity kills faster.
When the whole thing started, they have to be by you, my mom, my auntie, my uncles, and no other relations. For my mom have to take off and be with me. Sometimes you are going for dialysis, you have to wake up at 4 a.m., get to Kolibo by 5. She has to go with me. She doesn't want me to go alone. She's been supportive. Most of her business has almost collapsed there.
His mother, Minerva Ametepe, talks about how her son's health condition is gradually forcing her out of her catering business.
I'm a single mother. We have to fight for the money for at least a week. Every week, going to the dialysis. It's not easy. It affects me a lot because of my business.
The magnitude of her woes, coupled with her desire to see her son well again, compels her to appeal for help in her local dialect over.
Madaku, Madiba, Miakberanchinya. Now, Miayo Dovinya, Alaba teacher, Efianano. I like the view, Panya. Efianano, the view, Hana, the view, Danchi. Aba Wanogbe Akbo Eviao Ogbo me de view Katadenchi Alba family Katana benefit Choegbo Ye Hamagodo Nakbo Nunyona Matoegbo.
With a heavy heart, Adam Percy Besese is asking you to contribute the little you have for him to raise the 100,000 Ghana cedis he needs for his surgery.
Looking at the kids that I teach, and I actually want to impact a lot in them, and looking at my age, I think I've got a lot to offer Ghana. And so I'm pleading if I would be helped so that I will be able to help others. Because at least if a year students come out and they are good and they make their grades, I'm always happy. And if I'm also helped to stay alive a little, my impact might be felt. So yeah, that's the main cry, so that anybody who is touched should be able to help me.
If you want to put a smile on little Deladem's face, dip your hands into your pocket and contribute the little you have.
Well, so the story of Deladem talks about kidney failure and the difficulties we're having these days. That's something that had been going through my mind the last couple of weeks. Is that we're getting a lot more of the diagnosis of the problems, and so we're getting a lot more of these because it could be we've always had them with us, but because we're detecting them a lot more, so it's a lot more easier to say, oh, these days we have a lot more of the of the problems we have. We have in the studio Dr. Charles Dewhurst. He is the medical officer in charge of the Taifa Polyclinic, and thanks for joining me, sir. Okay. The issues of liver problems that people have, are they all cancerous all the time?
No. Actually, the cancerous types are not so common. Okay. We see the fatty liver disease, and then hepatitis, and then in some cases we see the cancers. But now we are seeing more of the cancers because we are having more of hepatitis B, which is a factor. If you get chronic hepatitis, you develop into a cancer. Okay. Alcohol is also a major factor. Formerly, we didn't see much of the cancers on this side of the world, but now we are having more of hepatitis B, so we are seeing those cases here.
What's the most common problems that people develop with the liver beyond the cancers? I mean, because you're saying that we just get minute of the cases as far as cancers are concerned.
Yeah, so hepatitis is a major issue.
Okay.
Okay. And alcohol is the #1 causal factor for hepatitis. Okay. And then we are seeing a lot of the fatty livers as well. Okay. But when you get the hepatitis, for instance, it stays with you for a long time. I mean, there are three main scenarios. You can get the hepatitis, that's hepatitis B or C, but commonly we see the B. Okay. When you see, there are three main scenarios. The body can clear it. It can stay with you. That means the body has just kept it under control, so it becomes more of a chronic infection, or eventually begins to affect the liver. Then you begin to see the complications. Yes. So when it becomes chronic, after a long period of time, some changes occur in the liver we call cirrhosis, where you have scarring of the liver. Now, when the scarring continues, it begins to trigger some changes in the way the cells behave, and then they tend to outgrow and become cancerous. That's how the cancer comes about. Yeah.
For you, for example, you are at a community polyclinic, okay? So you have catchment areas that you tend to have your patients coming from. The disease or the problems that we have with the liver, are they, you've told me the causative factors. Do locations also tend to matter as to the number of cases you get, etc.?
In this case, not really. If we look at the hepatitis, actually we have different causes of hepatitis. What I keep on mentioning is the viral hepatitis. With that, we have different causes of that as well. Okay, we have A, B, C, D, or our various viruses. But commonly, we are looking at the B and C. These are more of lifestyle cases. When I say that, I mean if you have, let's say, multiple sexual partners, you tend to use a lot of needles, maybe you go for tattoos, etc. You can get it from that cause. Like the various causes of HIV, the same can give you hepatitis B. But hepatitis B is 100 times more infectious than HIV. You can even get it from sweat, so far as you have a break in your skin. If someone has it and you have a break in your skin, it's possible for you to. So it's very infectious. Yeah, so it's more of lifestyle cases as to maybe community dynamics. Hepatitis A, which you can get from maybe drinking contaminated water or taking contaminated food, that can cause that. But that doesn't have too much of an issue with the liver with respect to cancer. The B and C, and then we are looking at alcohol as well.
I was just reading through, that was yesterday evening, I was just reading through what the basics are as far as epidemiology and things like that. And there's always statistics, let's say you take America or elsewhere in the UK or Europe, as to the numbers, but you don't tend to find, you just get generalizations and things. The lack of data, is there a concern for you as medical practitioners in your...
Yes, it's a big concern.
How is that?
Yes, because for instance, in the US and Europe, we know that alcohol is the #1 cause because they tend to do more vaccinations against this hepatitis B. So they don't tend to cause the cancers. So we know that most of the cases is caused by alcohol. But our data is still an issue here. I'm mentioning that I've seen quite a number of cases at my end, for example, but I can't give you an exact figure. But what I can say is that now we are seeing more of the hepatitis B in the system. And it's something that we can prevent, actually. If you do the test and you are negative, we can actually give you an injection or to protect you from having an infection. So there's a lot that can be done about it. If even you have the infection, there's a lot that we can do about it to monitor you closely so that eventually you don't develop the cancer.
How serious are these in children or young adults?
We don't see it commonly in young adults and children, okay, unless they get it from the mother during delivery, okay. So we take hepatitis issues during antenatal very importantly because we have to protect the newborn. So usually if the mother is hepatitis B positive during antenatal period, just before the delivery, there's an injection we give, and even after delivery we give another injection to the baby so that the baby does not get that disease. So because of that, we don't see it commonly. In addition, as part of the routine immunization we have for the babies or for the kids, hepatitis B vaccine is part of it. Okay, so these are all protective measures that they get. So we don't see in them. But as you go, because of lifestyle issues that I mentioned, okay, when we engage in risky behaviors, okay, having unprotected sexual intercourse and multiple sexual partners, etc., that makes us prone to getting the virus.
Is it expensive to treat? Because you're telling me it becomes more like a chronic issue, and so it stays with you forever, is that it?
Yes, what we do is that when you get the infection, okay, we first conduct a series of tests. Based on what we find, you could be cleared totally. Okay, you could have the infection. After about 6 months, everything vanishes as if you've never had an infection before. Okay. The other scenario is that the virus has not vanished, but it is with you. Okay, so that is when it becomes chronic. When after 6 months, the virus is still with you.
We call the viral load has reduced?
Good. Yes, so it's with you, but the immune system has brought it down. Okay, so it's not causing problems. And then the other scenario is with you, the immune system is not able to bring it down, so it begins to cause problems. Yes, so it's not automatic that so far as you have the infection, then you develop chronic hepatitis. Okay. You can actually be cleared of the virus.
But consistently, the medications you take and things, they can have effects on, is it eventually the liver? Let's say if you're treating hepatitis and it's a chronic thing, it's with you for life, and also on your kidneys. Is it possible?
Yes. Actually, everything we take in, okay, we eat or drink, passes through the liver. Okay, the liver sort of cleanses our blood, okay, of every toxin. So the whole blood passes through the liver for it to be cleansed, then gets to the kidneys for it to be filtered. Okay, so we look at cleansing and then filtration. So when it's filtered at the kidney, that's where the waste products, the urine comes out. Okay, so whatever we take is very important because it goes through these two vital organs. Medications, we should be very careful. Even paracetamol, okay, which contain an agent called acetaminophen. That is what is found in paracetamol. It's found in many other analgesics, okay. Even in cold medications, flu medications, you have this agent in it, this paracetamol agent in it. So you have someone coming with a headache, has a flu, and he's taking something that has paracetamol in both, okay? So eventually, if you have a lot of paracetamol in the system, it can affect the liver. Actually, it can cause liver failure when you have high dose of paracetamol. The good thing about this orthodox medication is that for every single drug, even a common drug such as paracetamol, we know what it can cause. We know it can cause liver failure. Unfortunately, some of these herbal medications, we are not sure of what it does. Okay, we know that it can cure these diseases, but we are not sure of the effects on these organs. That's why we say if the doctor, or when you are diagnosed of a liver disease or a kidney disease, then you should be careful what you take in. It's very important. Even with respect to kidney diseases, we actually, at some point, the dietitian has to come in because we have to restrict you on some kinds of proteins to take, of foods to take. It's all important because of the dynamics that occur in there. So diet is an important aspect in the management of these cases.
Okay. Usually, Dr. Dewhurst, so why do we have to talk about kidney in relation to liver? How do they go hand in hand in care?
Yes. In the early stages of a liver disease or a kidney disease, these two actually present with symptoms that are similar. And these symptoms are actually non-specific. Okay. Usually you have that sensation of getting tired easily, okay, fatigue. You can't concentrate properly at work, okay, loss of appetite. These are all non-specific symptoms that you might attribute to any disease, even malaria, for example, okay. But that's how the liver kidney disease actually starts, okay. Or you might have a low back pain in the case of kidney disease, or an abdominal pain in the case of liver disease. All these symptoms are similar in both of these. Okay, it's only in the later stages where you develop obvious symptoms like swelling of the legs, abdominal swelling, which are found in both conditions. Now, because the blood goes through the liver and then eventually is filtered in the kidneys, if there's something going on in the liver, it can reflect in the kidneys, for example. If the kidneys is not working and has a high load of, usually when the kidney filters the blood, it removes a waste product called, one of it is urea, for example, okay. Now, when this urea does not come out, okay, it's built up in the system, and it goes to affect the whole system, yeah. In the later stages of liver disease, they develop something called hepatorenal syndrome. Hepato means liver, renal means kidney. So it's a syndrome that affects both. So the kidney diseases eventually impact on the liver eventually impact on the kidney diseases. Yes, and commonly we see hypertension and diabetes as one diseases that really affect the kidneys.
Really?
Yes. Diabetes, hypertension, they are the number one causal factors of kidney diseases.
Why is that?
Yes. What happens is that if there's a high levels of sugar in the system, or when your blood pressure is very high, they cause some injuries, okay, at the microscopic levels in the kidney, okay, and these injuries are those that initiate the problems in the kidney. So if you're hypertensive, for example, your blood level, your blood level should be, your blood pressure should be well controlled, okay. If you are diabetic, the blood level of the sugar should also be well controlled, okay. It's very important because when these are high, when these parameters are high, they tend to affect the kidneys. So most of the times, people with kidney disease, you go and check their medical history, they're either diabetic or hypertensive. If you control the BP well, control the sugar well, most of the time you don't have any problems in terms of kidney
When I was
disease.
reading the books in many of the American journals, yes, that's true. Is that the case for, let's say, sub-Saharan Africa or our part of the world?
Oh, yes, it is. It is. And that is one of the reasons why for hypertensive diabetic patients, it's actually recommended that you start them on some medications that tend to protect the kidneys, because we know that that's one of the major issues. They tend to have kidney problems. So we tend to put them on some medications that help to protect the kidney in those two diseases. Yes.
How difficult is it for you as mainstream orthodox medical practitioners that we have all these traditional mixtures around that tend to purport to be curing, and they seem to have also some approvals from regulatory agencies?
Right, it's difficult because, I mean, if you find yourself in a situation, you are diagnosed of a chronic disease, and you are told by someone that it can be cured. You are told by another person that we can't cure it, we have to manage it. Of course, you opt for the option of cure, yes, because, and that's the problem we have. Usually, they tend to come back in a worse state because they go and try the cure, it doesn't work, and now they come in with complications. Herbal medications, I believe, they work. I mean, they are from plant sources, so just like the orthodox medicine, they were all from plants. But my main issue with them is that we want to know the side effects. We want to know the side effects. So if you're not too sure about the effects of what you are taking in, then you should be careful. Even if you are taking in a soft drink or an energy drink or whatever, you should be aware of what it contains. If you're not sure what you are taking in, then what's the point? So that's our main issue with this kind of medications. But if you have a liver or kidney disease, then you should avoid herbal medications. Yes.
Well, as always, we'll be opening the phone lines. We have 03022116912. Again, 03022116912. Or you can also send us a lot more of your messages through WhatsApp. And talking about WhatsApp, it's through the number 056. And many of you have already been sending a lot more of those messages. And so I'll read this. There's no history of kidney problem in the families of the parents. And I don't know whether that's a question. But doctor, please, what causes kidney failure in newborns?
Yes. Now, newborns, those cases we usually call it congenital problems. It's, as the baby forms in the womb, okay, some problems can occur. So, for instance, the kidney as an organ in the body will not be able to form well. So already the baby will be born with, the child will be born with kidney problems right from birth. Okay, I talked about the kidneys filtering the blood. Now, there is a part of the kidney that is called glomerulus that does that filtration. If that one is not formed well, for example, right from onset, you have a problem. Okay, all the waste products that are supposed to come out as urine is being kept in the blood. So in that case, we tell you that the kidneys are failing. Now, we have some instances in children where it's not the kidney itself, but it's a problem from the lower part of the urinary tract. If you have a bad urine infection, for example, it can move up to the kidneys and cause problems. Okay, in males, for example, we have in children, males, for example, we have some valves that are that may have some problems. Okay, we call it posterior urethral valves. In these children, they have issues with urinary tract infections. We can track into the urine into the kidneys to cause problems. Yes.
Okay, we have Abdul Razak from Tamale on the line, and then thereafter we'll take Michael, who is also giving us a call from Kumasi. We'll take the two together. A very good morning to you, Razak. You want to ask a question or you want to just make a comment?
Okay, fine, morning. Please, I'd like to ask doctor. I did hepatitis B test. So my hepatitis B profile, HBsAg, was reactive. So the doctor then at one and they advised me to go for LFT. So I went for the LFT and he said my liver was okay. But he advised me to go for viral load.
Okay.
So when my viral load was like HBV DNA copy was 117.
Please, can you ask a question? If you have a question, please do ask a question.
Yes, I want him to explain this thing to me about the viral load.
Okay, all right. We'll take another call from Michael in Kumasi. Michael?
Hello?
Yeah, Michael, you want to ask a question or make a suggestion?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question.
Please, you are free to, and try and raise up your voice a bit so that we can hear you audibly.
Yeah. I just want to find out from the doctor. Of late, when I wake up mostly early in the morning or in the evening, when I blow my nose, blood comes out. I want to know what the problem is.
We're talking liver and kidney disease, though, but it's sure he's a medical doctor. I think you also need to get to a hospital. That would be my first advice, too.
Okay, so with the last question, we have some small vessels in our nose, okay, which are very fragile. Now, if you have a very bad cold, for example, okay, and sneeze, it causes some trauma, you can bleed. We call it epistaxis. Other than that, there are some other causes of epistaxis, which the liver is part. Yeah, so when you go, we rule out the common things first. If we see that is not the case, we have to do some tests on the liver. We'll do that, yes. But other than that, I think chronic cold that we call the chronic rhinitis can cause you to have some small bleeding when you sneeze. Yes. With the other
viral load.
Yeah, the viral load. When you have hepatitis B, we do some routine tests for you, hepatitis B infection. The first one is the hepatitis B profile. That helps us to know whether the disease is in the acute state or the chronic state. And then we do the liver function test to see whether the liver has started having problems or not. And then the test is we do viral load. Usually, if you have a normal liver function test, that means the liver is not having any problems, okay? We have some cutoff point for the viral load. If it's not above some point, we say, okay, even though you have the infection, the viral load, that gives us an idea how the virus is multiplying in the blood. We say the viral load is not too much, okay, your liver is fine. So come in about 6 months, we'll monitor you. But if you're having problems with the liver, with a high viral load, depending on a cutoff point, then we'll know, okay, whether you need treatment or not. So in all these cases, you have to be monitored closely.
Kofi from Apam, I was tested 95 in, is it LFT?
Yeah, LFT.
Okay. Can
liver
it be
function
cured?
test.
Okay, liver function test, sorry. That's easier to remember.
Yeah. He said he was tested 95.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
You don't get that?
Yes.
Okay, that's a bit premature, I guess. You need he needs a lot more concrete information. Kofi, how much does it cost to do a liver disease treatment? To be on the liver disease treatment by Frank. Please, I know it's a medical. Yes.
Maybe he wants the cost.
I think so.
It varies, and it depends on the liver disease you're talking about, and then the state of the liver. Okay. If, for instance, you come with your hepatitis B positive, we check the viral load, you don't have any problem, we see you in 6 months. If it's something that we have to monitor closely, we do that.
Okay.
Yes.
John, from one, I think he smokes. He's worried that he keeps smoking. It says, can it affect his liver and the kidney?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. It's okay, don't add more. Good morning. I urinate 6 times every night. Please, can I know the cause? If you keep urinating, what does it mean? But he says he urinates 6 times. He's not told us whether he drinks a lot more water.
Yes. But commonly, urinary tract infections, and then when you have the high blood sugar, can cause that. So if it's a concern, especially if it comes with discomfort or pain during urination, then you should report to the hospital. Yeah.
That is if there's pain always accompanying the urination.
Yes. But if even there's no pain and you think you are urinating more often than usual, you should have a check. Your sugar could be high.
Okay. Halim. Abdul Halim.
Hello.
Good morning. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Tamale, please.
Oh, please.
I would like to know how one can use exercise to at least cure his liver problems or kidney problems.
Do exercises?
The effect of exercise.
Do exercises help in improving if you have liver disease or a difficulty, abnormalities, sort of?
Yes. Kidney disease, liver disease, exercise helps a lot. We recommend at least 30 minutes, at least five or more days a week. That helps to remove a lot of toxins from the body. You remember I mentioned that the liver does that. So if the liver has a problem and it cannot do that well, and you can burn some of these waste products, it helps. Yes.
The subject of viral load still comes up because they say, play as a daughter, if your viral load has been controlled, are you likely to develop liver cancer? Or would you still test positive if you do the test again, if the system has been cleared? And the relative difference between reduced viral system and the system being cleared. I think it's got to do with the viral load. Yes. Ken, giving us a very comment.
Yes. So what we mean by viral load is just the level of virus in the blood. Now, if the immune system brings it under control, then of course you not have so much of
how
the virus.
Is it not because you did certain things and so the immune system has brought it under control? Is that not it?
No. Maybe
you're eating right, or you're exercising right, or you're doing something.
Yeah, already if you have a good nutrition, that will give you a good immune system. Okay. So that's the start, yes. So if the immune system has brought it under control, then you don't have a problem. You can live with the virus without any problem at all. Just that we have to monitor you.
That's very. Yeah. Then comes the next question.
Yes.
So if somebody goes to the hospital and it says it like that, then the assumption is, oh, do they take it that my problems have been cured, or my illness has been cured, and so. On the side of medical practice, if perhaps also they give you some medication and it improves, could that also be misconstrued by the patient that have been cured, and so perhaps not getting the regular treatment that he needs?
Yes. So let me put it this way: when you have the hepatitis B, okay, it can either be in the acute state or the chronic state. So far as you pass 6 months, it goes into chronic. That means the disease will be with you. One of two things: either the immune system will bring it under control, so it's with you, you don't have any problem, or immune system is not able to do that, the virus levels are very high, so we have to give you some medications. Okay, we give antivirals for that. But in the acute state, even though the virus is the levels are very high, the immune system could still clear it. But we give ourselves up to about 6 months to make sure that the immune system was able to clear it or not, and whether you've moved into the chronic stage or not. Yes, so you have to be monitored. It's not a disease where you just do the tests, everything's fine, and then they just let you go. You have to be monitored closely.
We have Evans from Kumasi. Evans, please ask us a question, and please speak a little louder. You seem to be speaking undertone.
Yeah, Roland, I'm Jima calling from Sunyane.
Oh, Sunyane. Okay, Jima. Please
yes,
speak to the medical doctor. That's better.
Okay. What happened is that a sister of mine tested positive for hepatitis B. And I think we also went for is it profiling or something like that, just to check if the liver has been infected. Yeah, we went for that, and the doctor said it was okay. But I realized most of the time he falls sick, either with one or two things. So I want to find out, could it be as a result of the hepatitis test, positive that he tested, or there could be different complications?
Yes. If you remember, I mentioned that one of the early symptoms of the liver disease is when you have fatigue or you become tired easily. Now, it's very important, okay, that if a doctor says you are hepatitis B positive, now you know the least lab that the doctor can do for you is liver profile and then a viral load. Okay, it's very important that you know about these things, okay. If for some reason the doctor says, okay, now you are fine, even though you are hepatitis positive, find out, is it that it's cleared now, or it's with me, it's going to live with me forever, or what do you mean I'm fine now? Okay, it's very important. But then in the early stages of liver disease, fatigue, tiredness is one of the causes. So the liver can do that.
Kofi, you want Dr. Dewhurst's number? No number here today. Please go to your hospital, and I'm sure you could be treated. My urine looks brownish, and it's been on for some time now. What is the cause, please? Okay, what's the cause of having a brown urine?
Okay, so in the first place, we want to know what he means by brownish. Okay, usually if the urine is concentrated, let's say you're a bit dehydrated, you don't have too much water in your system, the urine can become concentrated and gives that color. Okay,
brownish,
I think it's
yellowish.
Yellowish.
All right.
Yeah. But basically, the urine as used from the kidneys, okay, it's a waste product, and it contains a pigment called bilirubin that has a yellow color. So sometimes if you have a yellow urine, it doesn't mean that you're sick. It just means that
it doesn't mean you're sick.
No, usually that's the.
Somebody said he took the hepatitis B vaccine in 2007. When should I go for the next one, or am I covered? I think he's talking about the booster.
Yes. Usually we do that after 10 years.
So if you took it, you didn't add your name though. If you took it in 2000, if you had a shot in, I think a series of shots that you
at least 3.
Yes, 3 of them. Okay. That ultimately culminates in the 3rd one being taken. And if you took it in 2007, it means that you take
So next year,
anytime next year is up for you to take the booster.
Yes.
And the booster is how many shots?
Oh, just one.
Just one.
Yes, but you should also check the antibody titer. You see, when you are vaccinated, what we do is that we are trying to stimulate the immune system to produce antibodies that will protect you. Okay, but it's not every case that happens. So the mere fact that you've been vaccinated doesn't mean that you are fully protected. You still have to be cautious in terms of your lifestyle. It's only after that antibody test that you'll be sure that, okay, now I have a lot of...
When you take the antibody test?
That you can do that after that. When you are going for a booster, you can check the antibody levels of that.
All right, thank you very much, and it's a privilege having you in the studio, and we've had some nice discussions. I hope that we can meet sometime again to have a beautiful discussion on the subject of medical care. And today we've been talking about liver and kidney care, and we've had in the studio Dr. Charles Dewhurst, And it's been interesting. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more for you.